Jan Richardson has written a beautiful book of lessons called The Circle of Grace. I'd like to share with you part of one of these blessings. It's called For Those Who Have Far to Travel. If you could see the journey whole, you might never undertake it. You might never dare the first step that propels you from the place you have known toward the place you know not. Call it one of the mercies of the road, that we see it only by stages as it opens before us, as it comes into our keeping, step by single step. There is nothing for it but to go, and by our going, take the vows the pilgrim takes, to be faithful to the next step, to rely on more than the map, to heed the signposts of intuition and dream, to follow the star that only you recognize, to keep an open eye for the wonders that attend the path, to press on beyond distractions, beyond fatigue, beyond what would tempt you from the way.
I will be reading from Matthew. After Jesus' birth, which happened in Bethlehem of Judea during the reign of Herod, astrologers from the east arrived in Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the newborn ruler of the Jews? We observed his star at its rising and have come to pay homage." At this news, Herod became greatly disturbed, as did all of Jerusalem. Summoning all the chief priests and religious scholars of the people, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they informed him. "Here's what the prophet has written. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, since from you will come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Herod called the astrologers aside and found out from them the exact time of the star's appearance. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, after having instructed them, "Go and get detailed information about the child. When you have found him, report back to me so that I may go and offer him homage too." After their audience with the ruler, they set out. The star which they had observed at its rising went ahead of them until it came to a standstill over the place where the child lay. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and upon entering the house, found the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and paid homage. Then they opened their coffers and presented the child with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, so they went back to their own country by another route.
Would you pray with me? Holy One, as we center and ground ourselves in you in this new year, in life, in breath, in love, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of each of our hearts be filled with beauty, with grace, and with wisdom. Amen. So as I started thinking about the new year and the story of the Magi, I started to seriously contemplate just the concept of journeys. And as I started to think about this, I thought, well, let's spend a few weeks on this. So we're going to spend a couple weeks talking about the journeys of our lives. The beginning of a new year stretched in front of us. You know, the new calendar, the party on New Year's Eve, the clean slate, the chance to start all over, prompts us to make plans, doesn't it? Like to set goals, to have things we want to accomplish. And so we start to plot and we start to plan and we start to map things out and figure out what's going to happen this year. I mean, how many of you have already started to do this? You got your vacation plan? Mm-hmm. You got a celebration plan somewhere? You've got, maybe I'm not a resolution person, but maybe you've set a resolution, something you want to accomplish. Maybe you have an exercise goal or a goal to clean out your house. Sorry, squirrel. Maybe you have a health goal. Maybe you have a goal to read the top 5 books on the bestseller list. Maybe you have a goal to do something more spiritual, or more with your spiritual path. Maybe your goal is to be here every Sunday morning that you're in town. Would that be a good goal? That'd be a good goal. So we start all of these plans and these goals. Maybe you even make lists. I'm really good with lists. Some of us really like lists. If I write it all down, then when I check it off, I get to feel like I accomplished something. So sometimes I'll even write down something that I've already done just so I can check it off and feel like I've accomplished something. Because we're very success-oriented and very goal-driven, and so we make these plans and plot our course. But I wonder if, perhaps by doing this, we don't maybe miss some things along the road. Because we get so destination-oriented, so goal-focused. Now, I read a quote that said, "Don't confuse your path with your destination." Don't confuse your path with your destination. This went over and over in my head, and I'm not making any sense of this quote in my head. Maybe it sounds like it should be just sort of common sense, but it wasn't working for me. And I think I finally figured it out when I asked myself the question, is there really a destination?
No.
You guys are already smarter than I was. Is there really an end of the line? A point where we've arrived? No. Some people might say death, but personally for me, I think that's the next great adventure. And if that's not what you think, then make the most of what you got here. I don't think there's a destination, even for the Magi, who had this great goal of finding the Christ child. That they got there, they brought him gifts, but it didn't end there, right? Then they went home by a different route. Their adventure continued. Their opportunities to grow and to learn and to study continued. Their stories continued. And so what does that mean for us? Have you ever, you've all plotted a road trip, right? Because this is like my road trip here, and that you all walked over probably when you came in. I was thinking about our road trip to Pine Ridge last summer when we took the mission trip there. You figure out the most direct path to get there, exactly how long it's going to take you to get there, and you go, okay, I've got to be from here at 8 a.m. on Friday morning to there at 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. And then you plan everything out, and we're stopping right here to sleep. Well, that's great, if everything perhaps goes according to plan, but you know what might you miss along the way? Luckily enough, on that trip, we had a little extra time on Saturday morning. The kids were all about, hey, let's sleep in. And I'm like, no, we can go to the Corn Palace. And you can tell everybody you have been to the Corn Palace in South Dakota. What an experience that you could have just missed. It was awesome. Ask any of them. But does our focus on that X marks the spot at the end, crossing the things off the list, accomplishing what we wanted to accomplish, does it keep us from perhaps enjoying all of the little side trips? So work with me on the metaphor of the journey for a minute here. What are the things that pull us off the road of life? She said, my wife said Kay. You say that like it's a bad thing. I'm like, wow, shiny, look at this over here. Let's go that way. What pulls you off?
A move.
Illness. Metaphorically, we have a flat tire. We need to get off and stop for a while. Maybe you got sick, maybe you needed knee surgery. We see seem to have a lot of that going around. So you get off for a little while. What else?
Moving.
Moving, sure. I can't keep to this. I've got to like go get my house in order. I'm moving to Texas, or I'm doing something. What else?
Job loss.
A job loss. Well, that was where I was going down the road, and now like the road just disappeared right in front of me, didn't it? Divorce does the same thing. That was my path. Where'd it go?
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren just make the path go like this. Changing what we recognize that our life needs. You know, when we think we're all set for that end goal, and then we think, no, you know, really that's not what my soul needs. That's not what fills me. You know, I was going to be a marketing executive. That was the X at the end of the path. No. Well, yeah, that was some other path. That wasn't me. So the interesting thing, though, is that we think that it's all bad if we deviate from this direct path and that goal that we think we set for ourselves. We've decided to, that maybe a trip to the Corn Palace is cool, but a flat tire, not so much. Certain things are good deviations, certain things are bad deviations, but can you learn and grow from all of them? Sure. Does your character become richer from all of them? Do you have some better stories from these things that happen? Absolutely. What would life be if we didn't learn anything and we didn't have few things go screwy, just so we could tell the best stories at the party? And so maybe we need to learn to make our plans a little looser, to be more flexible, to be more spontaneous, and to recognize that if the path disappears in front of you, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. We just find a different path. Or, you know, if we have to take a side trip or we have to take a rest stop, it's not necessarily bad. It just is. It just is the journey of life, and it becomes what we make of it. And so, as we face this year, I encourage you, go ahead, make your plans, make your lists. If that makes you happy, makes me happy. But allow for the side trips. Allow for the experiences of life to shape and form you. Follow the star, follow the light, great, but don't forget to see all of the things along the way. To be enriched, to live life in abundance. To remember that God travels the road with each of us.